All right. So before we can actually schedule any of our Instagram posts, we actually have to create them, right? So you can see that my posts here are really simple phrases scribbled down in a notebook on my train ride to work. So the first step is to come up with a list of simple phrases. So let's open up a text editor. In this case, I'm using Sublime Text. And then on each individual line, we're going to add one phrase. So the first one might be something like, drain the shallows, take a walk, remember to drink water. Get the idea. Just make sure that you have 30 of them, and each of them are, each phrase is on its own line. Once you have that, go ahead and Command S to save, and then label this day1_30.txt. It's important, again, to append the .txt file type at the end here, and I'll show you why in just a sec. The reason why I'm calling this day1_30 is because this text file contains 1 to 30 phrases per day. So each day I'll have one phrase, one post. So I'm going to hit cancel because I already actually created this here. And I'll show you what my text file looks like. Ta-da! So that's what it should look like. And you can use Sublime, or I think in Mac there's a native application called TextEdit that also works just fine. In any case, once you have your list of 30 phrases, go ahead and open up Sketch. And we're going to create a new file. And then go ahead and add an artboard that's 1080 pixels by 1080 pixels, because that's the recommended Instagram width and height. And then we're going to rename this artboard to Day 1. Give it a background color of black. And then put in some text. So you can see here I'm using Avenir Black Oblique at about 88 pixels. In the font size, obviously set to white. And then go ahead and type something. For me, the first one was called Drain the Shallows. That was my first phrase. And then go ahead and center that. And then we're going to shave off 8 pixels. Just so that we have a generous amount of space between on the left and the right for this text phrase. And next what we're going to do is drag this text element, span across the top and the bottom. So just really the vertical height of this Instagram post. And the real reason for that is anytime I type something, I want it to be centered absolutely. And the way to achieve that is to make sure that your alignment, both the horizontal and the vertical alignment, is centered. And the last thing we'll do here is for our transform under text options, make sure that you select the double capital A. So then that'll make sure all of our text is capitalized. And then we're going to make a symbol out of this. So go ahead and hit create symbol, Instagram/post. Right. So we're all set. So we have our first post for Instagram called Day 1, and we've created a symbol because what we're going to do is we're going to reuse these styles over and over again 30 times for our first month of posts. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to automatically duplicate each of these posts 30 times using the Make Grid tool here up here in the toolbar. If you can't find that, you can right click your toolbar and then click Customize and then drag this Make Grid to the top. I'm not going to do that because I already have it. So go ahead and click your artboard. You can do that here or on the side here. Click Make Grid. Then we're going to do a grid of 10 rows and 3 columns. Rows being horizontal left to right, 3 columns with vertical 10 rows up to down. We're going to set it both at 20 pixels in margin, and then boom. So now we have 30 artboards. But let's clean this up a little bit. Let's select our Day 1 artboard all the way to the last one, and then use a plugin called Rename It. And then we're going to rename all of our selected artboards to Day, numeric sequence ascending. And then what that did was basically assigned each artboard a day. So Day 1 all the way to Day 30, ascending order, right? 1 all the way to 30. And that'll be helpful to us because we're going to export these artboards in just a second, and when we export them, we want them to have meaningful and helpful names, so that when we're ready to schedule them, it'll be a little bit easier. So, all right, the last trick here is to Command A, select all of our symbols, and then use that Automate Sketch plugin. And then you can do that by coming over here to the overrides, finding these double diamonds, go to Automate Sketch, then click Text from File, and find that TXT file where you had all your initial phrases, and click Open. And boom, that will automatically populate each of your artboards with your phrases. All right, so now we have 30 Instagram posts that are ready to be scheduled. The last step here is to select all of our artboards and then hit this plus icon to make sure they're exportable. And you can export them in JPEG or PNG, but I find that PNG at 1x size works pretty well. And then go ahead, export selected, and you can export that into a specific folder, right? Or wherever you want. But yeah, there you go. Now you have 30 Instagram posts that are ready to be scheduled. So in our next video, we'll schedule these posts.